This is going to be a mixed topic addressing one of the major seismic multi-generational shifts, so we want to keep it down plain English. None of this academic jargon. The academics, the eggheads, they like to use these terms at the intersections, at the modalities of race, class, gender, and sex. What the hell does that even mean? At the modalities of race, gender, race, gender identity, biology, class, sex. None of that. This is all academic jargon. Let's get to the heart of something very real. Okay. In the olden days, okay, basically you have a coal mining town, right? Goldfield, Nevada. All right, you got Tonopah, Goldfield, right? So basically, seismic shifts in economy. If the economy shifts from a coal-based economy to natural gas, petroleum, or something beyond, like nuclear. So basically, you have these communities in America devastated by job loss. A coal mine closes down, and that's the employer of basically 99% of the men who provide for their families, their wives, and their kids. So what happens when all these men don't have jobs? They can't feed their wives and kids, right? So family life goes down, right? So what happens? So there's this idea in the past that basically, okay, so basically, let's retool and reskill people who are coal miners. They were telling this is the most fucking ridiculous idea. You tell a coal miner or a long distance driver, let's just imagine that there's AI replacing drivers, right? You tell them you're gonna shift to you're gonna become a this is ridiculous. I don't care if I get sued by basically programming boot camps, but I personally think it's ridiculous. You're gonna tell the long haulers, truck drivers, coal miners, you got to retool. You got to go to a boot camp, a 24, how many, basically I don't remember how many months, 6 months, 4 months. You're gonna go to a boot camp. You still see these commercials. Oh, you're a 55-year-old laid off man. Oh, go to a Python boot camp or some type of other boot camp, become a full stack developer in 4 to 6 months. This is fucking ridiculous, bro. Okay, this not only is it more, it's basically to be gainfully employed. You can't be a ignorant script kiddie like me. I can play with Python scripts, but I can never get gainful employment. Anything Python related. Basically, I had family members say, "Why don't you go to boot camp?" But basically, one of the virtues of religion is know thyself. This isn't stand-up comedy. Shout out to Pratik. This isn't stand-up comedy. I said, listen, I know who I am. This is not a problem you can throw money on. Okay, you throw 22K on boot camp. You throw 44K on boot camp. You throw 88K, 100K. It doesn't make a difference. I can never be gainfully employed as a Python programmer or any other type of full stack programmer. I can't do it. I don't got the brains for it. Nope. And not only that, Python isn't your ability to basically fuck around on a computer and then you're gonna apply and get gainful employment. Okay, that's not gonna happen, right? Basically, I've been to interviews where basically there's a lot of times where you're like, it's not what you know, but it's how much you don't know. And basically, I was talking about, oh my god, I got such a passion for Python. look at this fucking awesome program I made. And the theaters basically, it's like, oh, and there was one person on interview. I think we're done here. But basically, the thing with here's the thing. It's not only this. The accelerated job loss is more like this. Before it's, okay, you can shift to Python develop. What happens when you have AI who do better code than you? Okay, so, if you're beyond a script kiddie, if you're getting to your skills there, you're dealing with all these advanced concepts, you're building applications, mobile apps, wireframe, GUI side, full stack, front end, back end, middle tier, all these different silos. the amazing thing is that AI is also threatening the developers. So the shift to this society can't be solved by some one-liner politician saying, you know what, let's double down on capitalism. It's just an opportunity to retool and reschool. That's effing stupid. So you imagine a politician goes to a laid-off town. Well, this is a great opportunity. I'm a believer in the American dream and capitalism, and this is an opportunity for you to retool and to reschool and go to some Python, boot camp. That's just not going to work. Society has to reshift. So basically, AI, is it a problem for people who don't work, who live on passive income? No, it's not an existential crisis, but it is an existential. Just because it's not an existential crisis for me doesn't mean problems in society don't exist. So society has to think about ways beyond this idea that, okay, if you're not gainfully employed or if you're made redundant, the workers need to rethink this meaning. People need to stop defining their value based on their exchange value in a labor market. Your value and identity is not based on what you do. Okay, so if you're a laid off worker, so that you're basically displaced. What you are, this now it goes back to primal Shinto. What you are is spirit. What you are is not defined by this advanced division of labor in a capitalist society. What you are is not what you do. It's not the arbitrary division of labor of society. It's not what you do. It's not where you go to work. It's not if you're employed or unemployed. There's something more primal. And that's what civilization needs, something beyond capitalism. Because based on the logic of capitalism, if there's no market for example, 1/3 of the people of India or China to get work. So a capitalist logic government, if government is replaced by evil capitalist AI, they might say 1/3 of the population of the world from India to China is redundant. We don't need them. So what's going to happen? They can't get jobs. They're going to go on the street. They're going to starve to death. So there is different solutions. This is where it's beyond my head, because the economists will probably criticize this. You can't just give people money. You can't just give everybody XYZ shares in the stock of Microsoft, Alphabet that owns Google and YouTube, or ExxonMobil, whatever company. You cannot just start giving away ownership, basically increasing private ownership of the means of production. Basically, if you own 3% of Disney, you don't need a fucking job, man. So is the solution just to start giving people shares of Disney? And basically, and based on the share ownership, even if Disney has a paltry dividend, you're making at least, for example, 55K per year without working. Is the solution government, where you give everybody a dividend like the Alaskan dividend? A red state, mind you, a Republican red state gives away a dividend payout. There's an Alaska Permanent Oil Dividend Fund. If you're thinking about it in an engineering standpoint, that's fucking Marxism, socialism. That's pure fucking Marxism. That's pure Karl Marx and Frederick Engels, but it's a Republican red state. So what the fuck? But the point is that there's different aspects. There has to be a different logic beyond capitalism. One way is that the meaning of nation, that the meaning of people in a nation state isn't just what they do when they sell their labor to a company, whether a national corporation or a multinational corporation. That there are discrete goals of a national dream, an American dream, a China dream, an Indian dream, that could have religious overtones. So the nationalism, economics, we have to look at the pillars to the economists. Let's look at the technicals. Is it possible to save humanity by giving everybody co-equal shares, private shares, not governed by some goddamn communist party, but basically, um, if if you give everybody private shares, who's actually doing the production? Is AI and machines doing the production, doing the wealth creation, where humans are just sitting back, collecting their dividends by broader ownership of stock? Is broadening basically giving away stock ownership, giving away ownership in a means of production without a communist party, basically broadening the scope of stock ownership? Would that work? We need a basically congressional budget analysis. I want the eggheads, the economists, to give advice. I'm asking you, if you're an economist, does that idea even work? Because what happens a lot of times when people have a great idea, a lot of times if implemented, that will completely collapse the system unbeknownst to them. So economists, weigh in here. Is stock ownership, is something like the Alaskan Dividend Fund, is that an option? Is a combination of stock ownership, government dividends or subsidies, or basically even something really radical creative? What if, instead of having people work, what if 1/3 of the population is conducting a spiritual exercise, perfecting the worship of heaven, so that the nation is blessed by Almighty God? What if the purpose of 300 million people in America is no longer to work, but to see how we can offer a sacrifice that is acceptable unto God, so that He will bless a nation, and to bless you, your families, and the nation? You ever think about that? Maybe if you're Christian, maybe your purpose isn't to go to work. Maybe the church is the solution. That you have a nation, a holy priesthood, a holy order, a nation offering a sacrifice unto God. That's beyond the logic of capitalism. That's beyond whether you're a truck driver, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a Python full stack developer. We need to look at all things. Religion. We need to look at all things. Different pillars, culture, religion. Beyond the base logic of capitalism, what the hell you can put on your goddamn resume, and how you can exchange your brain energy or your physical, mental brain energy to an employer on this exchange of where you sell your labor and they pay you a paltry, highly taxed income where you create profit. We need to think beyond that. We need to think beyond that as a civilization. And I would like to get the opinions of the eggheads, the PhDs. If you're an economics PhD, weigh in and give your idea, and try to use plain English, so without talking about price elasticity, equilibrium, where basically if you raise the price of an iPhone too high, you're going to make more money per unit sold, but ultimately make less money. But if you reduce the price per unit, you're going to sell more iPhones, but end up making less money. Where you have a nerdy, perfect equilibrium price, where profit is maximized, where you have the perfect balance of cost, retail cost, and basically your goal is not to maximize the units of iPhones sold, or just to maximize the profit per unit sold, but you want to maximize overall profit. I don't want to get into a nerdy breakdown of macroeconomics. I don't want to turn this into my mini MBA. Let's look at the big picture. What do we do about AI potentially disrupting, based on what news articles are saying? Maybe 40% of industries, 40% of jobs could be affected. What's your solution long term in a world of advanced artificial intelligence? And this isn't a debate about nerdy debate. Are they actually intelligent? Are they actually cognizant? They passed the Turing test. This isn't a philosophy about whether AI is actually intelligent. They might not even be conscious, but the reality is it's going to fuck up the job market. It could fucking affect your life. It could fucking cause you to lose your job. So For people losing their job, do they fucking care about a philosophical question? ACAD, you're in a college lecture? Is AI actually intelligence? The people facing job loss, they don't give a shit about ethics class at, Michigan University or Stanford. They don't give a shit about a philosophy discourse. They don't give a flying fuck about ethics, philosophy, the philosophy of AI. They don't care about that. It's not the philosophy of AI. It's whether or not they have a job and can pay their fucking rent. If they have to lose the apartment. If you can't pay your rent, you're out of that apartment after, based on the contract. So AI job loss isn't a question. So I want to make sure the ACADs, PhDs, don't confuse this debate for some academic question. Don't go ACAD on me. Just look at the practical considerations. You know what, basically Marx said, there's a difference between biological sex and, never mind, but what is the practical solution to solving this AI conundrum? Let's begin. Let's debate.